a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Small Talk. When you think of artist or an artist, what do you think of? A lot of people think maybe a painter, but art comes in so many different forms. And today we're going to be speaking to an artist who is also an actor. Ladies and gentlemen, Linley, Holm, Subryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nancy. It's great to be here.
It's nice to have you, actually. So, you are an actor, right?
Yes, I am.
And
a trained actor.
A trained actor. Okay. Now I know you also you do background work as well as what? Now hold on. I'm just looking at your profile here. Oops, I lost it. I should just mind my business. Let you talk. Let's do this. You're a trained actor. Where did you train?
I first did a little bit of training in Victoria, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island, at a place, I'm not even sure if it exists anymore. It was called, I believe it was called the Screen Actors Studio. Just one or two classes, actually. I think Sid Kozak was one of my instructors, and he's like a legend if you're familiar with the history of film and television in British Columbia.
Right.
And then in 1997, I moved to Vancouver, British Columbia, on the mainland. This is for all of our international viewers who don't know the geography. And I studied at a place called the Studio on the Drive, which doesn't exist anymore. But it has now become a place called Actorium.
Oh.
And I've also studied with them. And I've just done workshops and things. I've studied with Jeb Beach and Associates, if they're familiar to anybody. Tom Todoroff, and there's probably a few more I'm not thinking of at the moment, but there you go.
So when did you decide to get into acting?
I think I seriously considered it in high school because, funny enough, in grade 8, when I was going from grade 7 into grade 8, you had to choose your electives when you were selecting the classes or courses that you wanted.
Right.
And I really wanted to do art class, like drawing and painting, because I had a flair for drawing and stuff like that. And I put drama as an alternative just in case I couldn't get acting class, drama class. Sorry, just in case I couldn't get art class. And so art class was full.
Okay.
And I got put into drama as an alternative. And I didn't really know if I had any talent for it, but I love movies and I love watching TV. So anyway, I took drama and musical theater from grade 8 through grade 12. I won awards. I found out that I was actually not bad at it. And so I think when I graduated high school, I was considering a few options. Like I was interested in still photography, cinematography, acting. It's all creative and arts related stuff. So I decided not to pursue acting right away. And I kind of put it on the back burner till I graduated high school in 87. So I put it on the back burner till 95, like 8 years, didn't really do anything. And then I started doing some stage acting and I started taking some acting classes in Victoria. And I started thinking about it seriously. And I moved to Vancouver in 1997 to become a professional actor.
So now I know from a little bit of experience that there's a big difference between stage and film acting, right?
There is.
Do you? No, you do both.
I don't really do stage acting anymore. I've done some, but not very much. I find, and actors are going to hate me for saying this, I find as a viewer, as an audience member, when I go to see theater on the stage, um, I'm so keenly aware that I'm watching a performance,
Right.
that I'm watching something that isn't real. And I like film and television because I feel it's so immersive and you can forget that it's not real. So
It's
I
true though.
really
Yeah, I agree
just,
with you. I agree. I agree 100%.
mhm. I think there's even a quote of Sir Ben Kingsley, the famous actor who played Gandhi and so many other roles, of course. And I think he was quoted once as saying he went to a production, it might have been Broadway in New York City, I'm not sure. And he sat in the audience and he said, at one point, he wanted to yell out, "You're acting," because um, it's not to say that all theater and all stage acting is bad. Of course not. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But um, I've seen some. I'm not like an aficionado of stage acting or going to plays and musicals and things like that.
Mhm.
But I've seen enough that I find I can't suspend my disbelief, and
Right.
so I can't enjoy it.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, and you know, it's kind of interesting because when I go to plays, whatever, I find often there's one person that usually is just one that just sort of stands out from the crowd, and it's like you immerse yourself in that character, but the others around them sort of fade, you know? Right?
Yeah, they're not even.
Yeah, yeah,
They're not evenly talented,
yeah.
maybe. And another quote I believe Ben Kingsley can be credited for was something along the lines of film and television being on camera, you're under a microscope
Mm,
and you have to pull everything in more.
right.
But stage tends to be overacting
Yeah, you have to be big and loud and
and loud so they can hear you in the back row. And
no,
so
yeah.
that's
So
a fine line. Yeah,
yeah.
I was just going to say that's a very fine line to walk. And, a lot of people are very good at it, and there's some that aren't.
Right. No, I want to talk about some of the things you've been in. You're known for being in Sonic the Hedgehog,
Yes,
right?
I was a background performer in that
Yeah. And
on Vancouver Island.
okay. It's kind of interesting how people get roles, I find, you know. I mean, obviously you have to audition and you have to give whoever you are auditioning for, give them something that they can say, that's the guy, that's the person I want, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, a lot of my credits on my IMDb page are background performing, but I do have some that are speaking parts.
I'm
When
just
I was in, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking through your profile here, some of the things you've been in. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, when I was on Sonic the Hedgehog, that was in 2018, and I
Okay.
think it didn't come out until, I don't think it came out till early 2020, just before the pandemic,
Right.
actually. But that was a very interesting experience. We shot on Vancouver Island in a small town called Ladysmith. If people are familiar with Vancouver Island, that's between Nanaimo and Duncan or Victoria. It's a very small town, but it had the look and the feel that they wanted. And there was several nights of night shooting,
Mm-hmm.
so that was interesting. And James Marsden, one of the stars of the film, was there, and there were some other actors that I wasn't as familiar with, but he was there, and Jim Carrey was not there. But yeah, it was very interesting. And I mean, I've done background performing on and off for 24 years, 23 or 24 years. I'm almost 54. I'll be 54 in a month.
Happy
And so now, thank you. September 20th.
Nice.
Uh, I just find now I want to do things that are different, something fresh, something I haven't done before. preferably more than just walking in the background like this, back and forth, you know?
Yes.
Um, and then, yes, I've done speaking parts, a lot of short films, my own short films that I've made, which
Oh,
I was
nice.
in,
Okay.
as well as other people's student films, Tell a Story Hive projects. I have a feature film that I was in, an independent feature film, never made a penny, but it was on Amazon Prime, and that's like my that's my big success. I was on Amazon Prime.
Well, I would brag about it if it was me.
Yeah, right. It's legit. That's what, to me,
Yeah.
it's legitimate.
Yeah.
Yes, I am an actor.
Yeah. You have to take credit because those are the things that you actually did. So you deserve credit, in my opinion, anyway. You deserve credit for the things you did. And that's what helps your resume, right? As an actor. So, I mean, big parts, little parts, they're all, what was it? There's some kind of saying that there's no small parts, they're just small actors or something.
Small actors.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. That's what they say. That's what they say. But that's the people who get the big parts
Right.
that say that.
Oh, yeah, easy for them, right?
Right.
It's like the rich saying, no, I don't care about money.
Pretty much with the whole strike situation. We won't go into that.
Yeah.
The SAG ACTRA strike and the Writers Guild of America strike right now is a very interesting situation for actors,
Right.
and everybody, not just the actors or writers, but nobody can work essentially.
Yeah, that's tough.
Or very few people can.
It kind of shuts everything down, doesn't it?
It really does.
Now let's switch topics for just a second. Now you said you're an artist. We talked about, I mean, a different kind of artist other than an actor. Painting, is that what you did or do?
I honestly don't do any painting or drawing these days. Photography, I still love to do.
Right.
I'm still a short film maker. I don't get a chance to do it a lot because I just don't have time, but that and video editing, I like to make little videos and things for Instagram or Facebook. I try to make them humorous.
Right.
Do things like Throwback Thursday videos and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe I should go back to painting and drawing because some of the great actors are also painters, like Anthony Hopkins, Sylvester Stallone, etc.
I find that like when I talk to whether they're musicians or whatever, a lot of people are multi-talented. They're talented in more than just one area. And it's something to do with that side of the brain. I always forget which side it is because my brain doesn't function properly, so I forget. But I hear that all the time. Like how many times like a stage performer is also a singer and a dancer, like that whole gamut, right?
Absolutely, totally true. I mean, I just saw a trailer for a new Netflix movie that's coming out soon. It's called Reptile, and has Benicio del Toro, Alicia Silverstone, and Justin Timberlake, who started off as a singer,
right?
And in his boy band NSYNC, they also had to dance, and now he's a legit, bona fide actor.
There you go.
There's at least a few things that he can do there.
Right. I love that. I just so enjoy talking to people that I mean, I look at talent as a kind of an umbrella sort of thing. You could be talented in a business, right? You can be talented. My husband, like he was really good. He was a good cook, and he could make a plate look so pretty and beautiful. And it's like, I would look at it like, how can you do that? So that's a gift. That's a beautiful talent to have, right?
It is. And a lot of people go through life and either they don't discover their real talent or they know what their talent is, but they don't have the circumstances or maybe the freedom to do it and explore it. They have to be responsible and, have a day job, 9 to 5 to pay the bills. So anybody who can follow their dreams and do their art in any way, shape, or form has my full respect.
That's true. It is not always easy to step out of that box that were put in by society, I suppose, right?
Hmm.
Do the things. And I also think that when you're not using your talent, there's always this dissatisfaction deep inside.
Yes, and it comes through. People
Yeah.
see it, whether you say it verbally or openly or not. People can see if you're unhappy, if you're miserable,
Mm-hmm.
if you're unfulfilled. It'll come out.
Right. Now, another
So,
thing, sorry, yeah. When you're talking about photography, I was just thinking about it because I have a friend who's very good at photography. She used to be, before COVID, I had like a team, we had 3 cameras set up and all that. And she would see stuff on the camera that it's like, she'd say to me, come and have a look. And I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? So I know that you have to have a particular eye to be a good photographer, which I don't have. So I applaud you for having that. I think it's great. Right?
well, it's funny because I come from a fairly large family, just 6 of us. Well, my dad's passed away, but there were 6 of us. And I'm the only person really, maybe until recent years with the advent of smartphone photography, but I was the only person that really had an interest in photography. And I always found that, excuse me, a lot of people, not just my family, but a lot of people don't like to be photographed. They're shy or insecure some way about how they look. But maybe I'm just a narcissist. And
But it's not
I
that.
started.
I hear what you're saying. No, it's not that though, right? I have social anxiety, but put me on a stage or in front of camera, and I'm like, "Ooh, I love this." It's just a way of expressing ourselves.
Totally, absolutely. And I think in like social settings and in large groups of people, I tend to be more reserved.
Yeah.
But if I'm alone or on camera with a small group of people, I come alive. It gives me a way of expressing myself, obviously, and um, maybe exploring things that I couldn't otherwise.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
And yeah,
I think it's therapeutic. I think acting can be very therapeutic, cathartic. Helps you discover parts of yourself instead of having all these maybe repressed or things that you hold inside. It helps you to let them out in a healthy way and be a fully integrated human being.
Yeah, one of the things I find it interesting, like I was in the vagina monologues for a number of years, and they always give me that C word to perform, and that's not a word I use in no everyday conversation at all. But on stage, I had no problem whatsoever just putting that all out there, and it's that freedom, that moment in time, that you're there, whether you're in front of a camera like you do, or on stage. You had that moment, and then you leave that behind when you go back to being away from the stage or the camera, right?
Absolutely. Well, look at some of the greater actors of our time. Like, let's say Robert De Niro, for example.
Mm-hmm.
For many years, he didn't like to do interviews very often. And in interviews, he was kind of, hard to get a word out of him.
Yeah.
He would just be very, very, reserved. And now he's probably a lot more receptive to it. And there's others I can think of that, they don't really want to talk about acting or what they do. It's like it's a separate thing in a way from who they are just as a person. Or Harrison Ford, I think, is another good example, especially this year with his latest Indiana Jones movie. And if you watch interviews with him, he doesn't look comfortable.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's getting a little older. He's like 81.
Oh my gosh.
81, I believe.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, I think acting is a good way for a lot of people to. It gives people an opening or an avenue for expression and being themselves that they wouldn't have maybe otherwise. Save some people's lives, maybe almost, like that they had that.
Mm-hmm. We are introverted extroverts, or is it extroverted introverts?
Introverted extroverts, maybe.
Yeah, that's who we are. The people who do the things that we do, you and I, and people like Harrison Ford, or right? Our private lives we are different people away from the camera, And that's okay. That's part of just another part of us. So I like that part. I like to use that line because it sounds better than being, socially inept. I'm sorry, I go off on tangents. So anyway, we're almost out of time. Unfortunately, it goes so fast.
Oh,
So do you have any projects? I know with the actors strike, the U.S. what's happening there in the writer's strike, it's kind of put everything on hold. But you personally, other than that, do you have anything coming up?
Well, I was just in a competition they have every year called the Run and Gun 48-hour film competition. And that was a couple of months ago, I guess, in June.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a small role in one of those films. We didn't win the top prize or anything, but I was in that. And then through that, I might be in kind of like a sister competition called, if you'll excuse my language, Shits and Giggles. I was just approached perhaps to take part in one of those. And about, I guess, a month ago, end of July, I did some background performing on a new show, which will be on the CBC. And I don't think I've never done a Canadian production, but I've maybe only been on two, or at least one, but maybe two other Canadian shows ever.
All right.
And so you can look forward to that. It's called Wild Cards. It's going to be on CBC winter of 2024. So probably January, February, maybe in there, hopefully next year.
Right. Well, you'll have to come back on and just before, shortly before it's about to air or something, come back on and talk about it for the audience, right? And that, because it'd be when it closer to the date. Well, we're going to end it on that note. So just stay on camera. So everybody have been listening to Linley Subryan, and I'm hoping you enjoyed his interview today. I always did. I always find it fascinating talking to people. Thank you for watching the show, and I hope you continue to do so. And take care and peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.